Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today I'm going to be going over my picks for the 10 best classic muscle cars in GTA Online. Now obviously, there is not a category in GTA called Classic Muscle. I'm just going to be talking about muscle cars that happen to be classics. Now also just to note, not every vehicle on this list is actually going to be in the muscle category, because there's some classic muscle cars that are technically in the sports classic category in GTA Online. So I just thought this would be a cool video to make. It was a request from a viewer, so I thought it'd be a good one. Drop some requests in the comments down below if you have them, if there's top 10s you want me to make. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if you don't, and consider subscribing if you're new. Let's go ahead and get started with number 10. At number 10, we got the Declassy Vigoro for $21,000. However, this can only be obtained by stealing one off of the street now, because you can no longer purchase it on the website. So you're gonna have to go find one on the street, put a tracker and insurance onto it if you want to keep it. It has a fairly good amount of customization for being an OG car that has been in the game since the release of GTA 5. Most importantly though, with this car, it does have a spoiler option which will help with the handling quite a bit, which would otherwise be pretty dreadful. It has a fairly decent top speed of 112.5 miles per hour, with handling that is better than most of the other early game muscle cars that you can steal off of the street. I think it also looks pretty good for such an early model in the game, which is an added bonus. I think it is supposed to be based off of the Chevy Camaro, but it could be a little bit better, if I'm being honest. However, still a really good car, and for only 21 grand or stealable off the street and you can keep it, not bad. Next up at number 9, we got the Declassy Mamba for $995,000. And now technically speaking, the Mamba isn't in the muscle car category. It's actually in the sports classic category. But in real life, I would certainly say that this thing is a muscle car being based off the Shelby Cobra. Now, I also don't want you guys to get anything twisted here. The Mamba has absolutely dreadful handling, which is kind of to be expected. However, I will say the car is an absolute blast to drive, and the top speed on this vehicle is just shy of 120 miles per hour, making it quite fast compared to a lot of other cars on this list. The Mamba has little to no customization, but I would argue that being based off of a Shelby Cobra doesn't leave much to be desired looks-wise. I think the Mamba is a beautiful car, just like the real-life variant. It's a really awesome one. You should pick it up. At number 8, we got the Imponte Phoenix, and the Imponte Phoenix is a non-purchasable muscle car that must be stolen off of the street, and it has always been that way, and it gives an added element of scarcity over most other cars in GTA Online. The Phoenix also has a decent amount of customization for a vehicle that's existed in the game since release. The Phoenix also sounds absolutely awesome. However, the handling is a little bit on the temperamental side, but despite this, it is a relatively fun car to drive, particularly in a straight line. And of course, it's based off of the Pontiac Trans Am, which is pretty awesome. At number 7, we've got the Declassy Sabre Turbo. This is going to cost you $15,000 if you do decide to buy it off of the Benny's website. And if you want, you can spend an additional $490,000 to upgrade it into the Sabre Turbo Custom. And the Sabre Turbo OG is a muscle car that has existed in GTA Online since the release of the game. And it's one of the most customizable vehicles that can be stolen off of the street. It actually also has some pretty good performance with a top speed of just over 111 miles per hour, while having surprisingly good handling as well. It gets even better though if you do upgrade to the custom Benny's variant. It will gain 10 miles per hour on the top speed for a whopping 121 mile per hour top speed, which is pretty damn good, while also having the handling improve slightly as well. It's based off of the Chevrolet Chevelle. The Sabre Turbo is an absolutely classic car in GTA Online, and I would absolutely recommend that you own one of these vehicles at some point, whether it's the regular variant or the custom. Either one is worth owning. At number 6, we got the Declassy Stallion for $71,000, and the Stallion is a car that was added into GTA Online with the release of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions of GTA 5. The Stallion is based off of the Oldsmobile Cutlass, and it has some aspects of the Plymouth Hemi Barracuda as well. In-game, the top speed is just short of 111 miles per hour, meaning that it's not super fast in a straight line, but the handling is alright, especially for a car of its age in GTA 5. Customization wise, there's not all that much that can be changed unfortunately, but it is still a really cool car that you will almost never see anybody driving in this game. At number 5 we got the Bravado Gauntlet Classic for $615,000, and the Gauntlet Classic is a sequel but also a predecessor to the Bravado Gauntlet that you can find driving around on the streets of Los Santos. The Gauntlet Classic is based off of a 1970 Dodge Challenger and has all the right customization options to personalize it to your liking. Very similar to the regular Gauntlet in GTA Online, the Gauntlet Classic also has somewhat decent handling for a muscle car. It's actually quite good in the corners, it only really oversteers slightly on faster corners. It also has a really good wheelie and great acceleration, but the top speed is only about 110 miles per hour, which is quite low, especially for a car that's this new and that has this high of a price tag. Regardless though, this car is an awesome one to have in your collection. At number 4 we got the Vapid Blade for $160,000, and sadly this is a removed vehicle, so it's not purchasable through conventional means. However, you can purchase it from other players in the LS car meet if you really want to get your hands on one. The Blade is extremely good in a straight line with a good top speed of nearing 119 miles per hour. However, despite being good in a straight line, it's also fairly good in the corners too. And it's quite hard to get this car to spin out, which is a bit refreshing in this particular subcategory of vehicles. Now it has next to no customization, but I think it looks really good even fully stock. Being based off of the Ford Falcon in real life definitely does help with that, and this is definitely a car that I would keep an eye out for at the dealerships if it's something that you are interested in. At number 3 we got the Imponte Beater Dukes for $378,000, and the Beater Dukes is the in-game successor to the Imponte Dukes, which has been around in GTA Online since GTA 5 re-released on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 generation. The Beater Dukes came out a few years later with the release of the Los Santos Summer Special DLC in the summer of 2020. It has a ton of new customization options which are absolutely awesome. They give you the option to have a destroyed Dukes with warped and dented body panels as well as other damage, as the name would suggest. Or of course you can turn it into a freshly redone Dukes. However, performance-wise it's actually not that much of an upgrade. It's pretty much the exact same car as the regular Dukes, which can be purchased for $62,000. So if customization matters to you, I would suggest buying the Beater Dukes. However, if you don't care about the added customization and just want the performance, save some money and buy a regular Imponte Dukes. At number 2 we got the Invitero Coquette D1, which is a relatively new car and it goes for $1,500,000. And following in the Mamba's footsteps, the Coquette D1 is in the sports classic category technically. However, I would consider it to be a classic muscle car. It is based off the 1956 Corvette C1 in real life, which is definitely considered to be a muscle car, and it has a pretty good top speed nearing 124 miles per hour. The handling is also pretty good, and the acceleration is decent, probably due to its placement in the sports classic category and not the muscle category. It also has some nice customization options and looks quite realistic compared to its real life counterpart. I think the D1 is a very solid car and I think you should definitely buy one. Now for a dishonorable mention, we have the Vapid Ellie up next for $565,000, and this thing is a complete pile of shit. It has basically no customization, all while having god-awful performance due to the appearance of engine resistance on the car, which makes the car shift late and therefore have terrible acceleration, and also it negatively affects the top speed, meaning that this car is just super slow. The handling is okay, but otherwise the vehicle is terrible, and honestly the handling is probably only good because the vehicle is not very fast in the first place. For an honorable mention, we have the Declasse Tulip, which is $718,000, but it is removed from the game, so you will have to buy it from another player. And the Tulip is a car that shares a lot of similarities with the Declasse Vamos, which isn't a good thing in a lot of ways. However, the Tulip has 4 doors, as well as a top speed that is 3 miles per hour higher than the Vamos, and it has some pretty nice customization options. Now, the unfortunate part is that the Tulip drives the exact same as the Vamos, which is bad. But there's something really great about the Tulip that I can't quite put my finger on. If you're feeling brave and don't mind losing control in a straight line, I would be inclined to recommend this car to you, but if you like cars that can go straight without issue, the Declasse Tulip probably isn't for you. Still an awesome car, but only buy it if you don't really care. And at number 1, we got the Vapid Dominator GTT for $915,000 to $1,220,000. The Vapid Dominator GTT is by far the best performing vehicle in GTA Online that is based off of a classic muscle car. It was released with the Tuners DLC, so it has some pretty good customization, but also excellent performance to go alongside its great looks. On top of it all, it can be stanced to achieve an even higher top speed than normal, which is typically 115 miles per hour, so not overly fast. But this car really excels in the handling department and is actually considered to be one of the very best muscle cars in GTA Online when it comes to racing on circuits. It's also based off the 1969 Ford Mustang GT, which I would say is widely considered to be the most iconic muscle car of all time, dare I say it. The GTT is incredibly good though, you gotta own one. It is super sweet. So anyway guys, there you have it. Those are my picks for the 10 best classic muscle cars in GTA Online. Let me know what you thought of my list in the comment section down below. Do you think there's any cars that I missed? Should I add anything? Should I do another one of these? Should I do any other videos? Let me know down there. Leave a like if you enjoyed, dislike if you didn't, consider subscribing if you're new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.